diys-by-dar, another challenge, being hosted by Eliana from Why Not Read Design with a back to school theme. And this is my piece. It is a bookshelf that was mine, so it's in pretty good shape. The only problem with it is down on one corner there is a little bit of a damaged spot, and it is fiberboard with veneer. So I was thinking that I wanted to make a very useful storage unit that also could be used like a wall partition, especially for a college-bound student. That way, if they wanted a little more privacy, they could roll it up to the side of their bed in a dorm and have the space that they needed and some storage that they possibly needed. After cleaning up the piece, well, I needed to put some beautiful big heavy-duty castors on the bottom. So this piece could be taken wherever you need it to go and could be moved rather easily. So I measured that up and I found myself some really heavy, thick boards, and I needed to get these attached to the bottom as square as I could. I had to slowly drill in because I did not want to split that fiberboard up the side. I used some quick and thick glue on the whole board, and then I also did use it on some screws that were nice and long and would hold these castors on very securely. I did get all four boards on relatively even, except there's that spot that I'm going to need to repair, and I didn't like that seam. So I took some regular caulk and I'm going to go around that little gap right there and see if I can even that up a bit. Caulking is done. Now it is time to get out the Surf Prep sander, and I am going to take some 220 and I am going to scuff sand this whole piece. I was able to take two of the shelves out just to make it a little bit easier for my plan. I did prime that open MDF spot right there. And I used some Dixie Belle mud this time, and Dixie Belle mud is very, very smooth. When I compare it to my other mud, I may have to put an extra coat with this, but it is very smooth and there's no grittiness to it at all. Put it in the refrigerator though, or if you leave it out, it will get mold. This was my choice of paper, some molds, and also some stencils. I wanted to use the all-in-one mineral paint by Dixie Belle in the color Serenity, and I needed to get the bottom painted in first with 2 coats so I could get my wheels attached and get it back up on its feet so I could get the remainder painted. Back on its feet, and I did use a small foam roller to quickly roll in the rest of the bookcase with 2 coats. And I chose this paint because it has a built-in primer and it also does have a top coat in it. Time to make some molds. I wanted to put a border around the top and the bottom, and I used some DOS clay, some air dry clay, and use some starch and just gently put some in your entire mold. You don't need to put a lot because if you put a lot in, when you go to press that clay down in there, it'll just lift back up. So get a nice little long log and start pressing that clay down in and getting in every little groove. And I have a slightly dull knife, and I will cut off the excess because I want this to be level. This is going to be a border that's going to connect. So you want all the pieces level. Once it's trimmed, just go ahead and smooth it back down. When it's ready to come out, gently, just coax it out gently so you do not distort it. And pull on it just a little bit and lay it down and lift up the mold and let it fall out on its own. Tight bond once again, quick and thick. And I don't know why it is we always have to take the top off when we want to get some glue out. But this time I didn't use as much glue as on my last project, which if you see that my molds were all sliding off. So I cut back a little bit and just make sure that you spread that glue all the way to the edge and all the way across the back. And the other thing that I did was I let them sit for about 25 minutes before I went out to put them on. Once again, it was a really hot day here in Michigan and pretty hot where I work in my little barn area. Here goes the first piece. Went on really nice. I had no sliding. Getting that second piece butted up as tight as I can. And then also I do try to take a little bit of where they meet and pull it over on one another without distorting that image. But so far, I've not been real lucky. It looks great right there, but after it dries, it does shrink, and then I seem to get these cracks. So I use some fast dry DAP, some silicone filler, and had to go along and repair all those cracks and try to also form it to the direction that the pattern was going. There we are, all completed along the top and also all the way along the bottom. It would look really awesome if all you did was take and line all your sheets up all the way down, but where is the fun in that? I think, with what Lel and Marty have given us in this beautiful paper, we need to take it apart and make it different on our own pieces, and there's a lot of beauty and fun in that. Here are my sheets of decoupage paper, which I did tear out all the pieces that I could see a design in that I liked. I'm ready to decoupage, so I used Mod Podge and put a moderately heavy layer on. Get your pieces on there. I don't know why I cut this piece. I think I had a different design in mind, and then I changed my mind and I took these two pieces back up to the top. And you can see I got a problem already. It's not really straight on that left side, so I was able to take that piece off and rearrange it a little bit and straighten it out. And I used some wadded up saran wrap this time to see if that would help. And Lel says, get that on there and try to leave it alone as much as you can, and some of those minor wrinkles will come out. The decoupage paper is all on. It is completely on. So my next move is going to be painting and trying to get this decoupage paper to disappear into my paint. Terra clay paint by Dixie Belle in the color Marigold. Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint, Florida orange, terracotta, and then I have a little bit of the chalk mineral paint in black. So they're all clay based, so they should mix well. I used a lot of dabbing and stippling and swirling, and the lighter color was the Marigold in the Terra clay paint. I also tried to just lightly dab in some of that design from the paper that would be working up into these other colors, and I needed to repair that little crack that I had there to get these two pieces to look like they come together flawlessly. Time to stencil. It's all painted, and I'm happy to say that I did not have to use stencil spray on the back of it. I'm getting better at holding the stencil and going for it. And I forgot to put the little purple trio in the middle there, so I had to go back to the other one and add it. I did add also some crackle in various areas across the piece. This is my last stencil, 6-inch square, very, very cool stencil. I used the terracotta color, which was a little bit darker, so you could just see a hint of that other pattern coming up from the bottom of that design. Outside is all painted. Time for the inside. So this was going to mainly just be stencils. When I was completed, it really looked pretty symmetrical. I thought it just needed something else. I used the same stencils in the same colors that I used on the outside, but it just needed something more on the inside. So I looked at my stencil, and you can do this with any of your stencils. Look at it, and if you see another pattern design in it that you would like to use, just tape off the portion and you'll end up with a completely looking different stencil. And I thought this one would be pretty neat. And I had to pull out peony because there was a little bit of a pinker color in it. And I added the peonies, which was a little bit pinker than that Plum Crazy. Time to do that molding. And I used the Plum Crazy on this. I did apply 2 coats, and I tried to get all of the white areas so you don't have any white areas showing. And the last thing was fix the edge, and I just used a palette knife with the same colors and just kind of skiffed them on there. Once it was dry, I decided I wanted to spray this. And I used 3 coats of Polycrylic in matte. I knew this was going to probably take a beating, so I wanted this surface to be nice and tough. Yeah, I know I forgot my mask the first time, and I really knew it, but I definitely had it on the second time. Make sure you're safe and wear your masks. I needed to take it up a notch on the molding, so I did take some Dixie Belle gilding wax in gold and just went with my finger and filled in all along the top of the moldings on the top and the bottom. All right, spray and bond, pattern and stencil spray. I'm going to use it this time because I am stenciling on some totes that I want to put in the bottom, and I want them to match. And this was a heavier canvas, and by dabbing and lightly swirling and being extremely careful, since I have never stenciled on fabric before, it did come out really nice. And you can heat set the Dixie Belle paint, so it should be good. I set mine out in the sun for a day, so the sun did beat on them, and I think that probably was as good as ironing it. Here's what I started with. I wanted this to be something for the college-bound student, to give them some storage and some privacy. Here it is now. I want to thank Eliana from Why Not Redesign for hosting this Back to School Challenge 2023. I will have the playlist in my description so you can check out all the other talented artists. And I'm going to have video probably the end of August. So turn on that bell, give me a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.